Hello. It is time for our book study on Rise of the False God, Transformation through Illumination. Tonight, our chapter is all about it's all in your mind. Simple, not easy to understand, but we need this now more than ever. So I invite you to settle in and get ready for tonight. Also know that if you've missed any videos, you can go to YouTube and go to Rise of the False Gods, Alicia Leslie, and you will be able to find them all. So I hope you do that. And also know that I welcome questions and comments, and I will try to answer them. If I don't see them in the feed tonight, I will try to answer them during the, tomorrow. Let's see, what's today anyway? It's only Tuesday? What day is it? Oh my gosh, you get lost in it. Everything piles up on you. Happy Tuesday. Cheryl puts in Happy Tuesday, and I'm going, it's Tuesday? Yes, it is. Okay. Seems like the days have been crawling and crawling for the longest time with a constant set feeling of pressure. I don't know if you're feeling it, but I'm feeling it. I think most awakened beings are feeling it because we have been under such a long-term reign of stress and mental and emotional oppression because of our political situation. And, I said in the beginning, this isn't a book about politics, but politics are in it. And I didn't know back when I was writing it a few years ago that things were going to get as wacky as they have gotten. And I also know that as I write this, and read this, rather, I already wrote it, as I read this, there are a lot of people who are not going to agree with what I say, but I have to say it. So I put it out there for you to consider the possibility that something I am sharing has value in your life. I'm going to start reading. We are already on page 130, which is 5 pages past the halfway mark of the book, so we are making progress. Okay, so this is when it gets pretty personal, so it's another, I don't know, maybe you're going to have your seatbelt on for the rest of the book, but it's a good idea to have it on right, at this time. We're going to look at ourselves now and at our, the fact that if thoughts, words, and actions align with what we believe, that's what our life becomes. Everything begins in mind. Now, this takes some real thinking before we really get to it. Everything begins in mind. God, or divine mind, is the creator of all ideas. There are unlimited ideas. We receive them, and according to our consciousness, we express them or press them into manifestation. But mind generates the ideas. We interpret according to our current awareness. So according to where we are coming from in our own state of development, spiritual development, that is how we manifest through our translation of what it means. Now, the term mind applies to both the thinking and feeling natures. One would think that, mind is like in your head, which it's not, because your mind is not your brain. Your mind is the metaphysical part, the spiritual part that is beyond the brain, and the brain is a vehicle that is used by the mind. That's something to think about, isn't it? I don't know if that's completely new to you or not. So the state of mind, excuse me, so then the state of mind on reception of an idea determines the nature of the manifestation. This is one reason prayer, meditation, and staying spiritually uplifted is so important. Because if we're coming from a low place in consciousness, we are going to translate the ideas we receive according to that state of consciousness. And this is why we are going through such a dark period in the development of humankind right now. And this is not new. That's what you have to understand. This is cyclic. And so far, we've never been able to break the cycle, to break, should we say, the gravitational pull of lower consciousness. But especially now, when we are engaged, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you want to call it or not, we are in the middle of a spiritual battle of light and dark, of ignorance and enlightenment. Now, I didn't say that to scare anybody, because if you think about light, light shines on the darkness. It doesn't have to chase it away. The dark is not the real thing. The light is the real thing. Enlightenment, which is true knowing, is the real thing. And I will tell you something, I will confess to you. I am not where I want to be in that, but I am way closer to it than I was a number of years ago. Every day, in every way, I am getting better. I may know the truth. I still may fall into my habits of lower consciousness, my fears, my doubts, but knowing conceptually of the truth and practicing it will bring us to a point of living it, embodying it. And there are some things that I do embody now. And I am working on my path to more and more. Frankly, I'm quite fed up with the constant shadows that are coming out of the darkness of lower consciousness and just seeping all around us like a dark fog. Well, there's only one way we're going to get rid of that dark fog, and that is through enlightenment. Things we think, hang on a minute, yeah, okay. Yeah, so the prayer and meditation help us stay connected to God, to divine mind, to the higher purpose, and stay in higher consciousness. Things we think, feel, or believe don't change truth. It's not going to change truth. Right now, we do not, you know what, until January 21st, when Biden takes office, we will not be able to exhale and say it is finished, because there is a constant effort. This is all in lower consciousness, okay? Please understand that, because when we get to higher consciousness, we look at it and just blow it off, because that's just a part of the growth process. But when we are immersed in it, okay? So we cannot just throw off what we're in the middle of it, because the outcome will manifest according to the consciousness of the whole. Okay? But even, let's just pretend the totally unlikely thing happens. And if for some bizarre reason, Trump were to stay in office, that doesn't mean he won the election. He didn't win the election. There is mammoth proof and 6 million more votes against him than for him. But in the lower consciousness, remember the things I've talked about, the rule of 7, repeat, 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 and they will believe. And that is what is happening in this lower conscious political realm that we're in right now. The repeating and repeating and repeating doesn't make it true for the enlightened mind, because it doesn't make it true at all. But the lower consciousness can come to believe it, because that's in the lower. Not necessarily ours, but a great number of people who literally believe what he says, despite the fact that there is absolutely nothing. They have nothing to indicate that should even be looked at. But the human belief and desire to manipulate by a person who has lived a life of manipulation and getting his way no matter what. And the one thing that I hang on to at this time is the fact that there were more than 6 million votes more from enlightenment than from the ignorance. Okay? So we have enlightenment and we have ignorance. We will grow through it. But will we do it in this lifetime? In this cycle? Will we learn yet? So far, we haven't made that choice. Because if we really made that choice, if we were really grounded in the rightness of this, we would not stand for what is happening. We would not allow what is happening. But enough of the people who are not yet awakened, especially the ones who know better, they know this isn't true, but they go for it anyway because of selfish desires. This is not going to be easy. But growth never is easy. We are truth seekers. We are enlightened beings. And I'm going to be real honest with you, my friends. I don't care. Democrat, Republican, independent, progressive. I don't care what label it's got if the person in charge is making decisions that are aligned with principle and they are intended for the good of the whole, not for self or the few. Okay? It's real important that we get that. So I'm hanging on the fact that more people are appearing by all appearances, and then you got all the people who didn't vote, but they're going, what's up with that? They know better, because you don't have to be a voter to understand the difference between good and evil. In truth, yes, I know all the unity folks scream out, no, there is no such thing as good and evil in truth. There is not, but in this world, there is that expression. And that expression is here for a reason. It is to teach us either we like something or we don't like something. If something keeps giving us pain, let me tell you something, it ain't good. The pain is a symptom something's wrong and needs to be changed. Okay? Go back. I'm not going to go back because I'm going to start all over again. I take too many side trips here. All right. And I want to finish this chapter, this piece tonight, because we got more to go on to. So I'm going to try to hit my 30 minutes, but don't count on it. Okay. All right, well, I didn't make it very far yet at all. Oh, okay. A perception created through mind can appear to be true even if it isn't. This is where false gods can move to manipulate, and why Jesus taught we must not judge by appearances. The law of mind action states, thoughts we hold in mind manifest in and as our lives. An example of the error side of this would be wishful thinking. Now, a lot of, and oh God, I'm going off track again, okay? This is probably going to take 2 nights because I don't want to be at this all night. It is, they say that Donald Trump came out of the Collegiate Marble Church, which was Norman Vincent Peale's church, which teaches positive thinking. He's, matter of fact, Norman Vincent Peale wrote the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. But he didn't get, Trump doesn't understand what that is all about, because the thing with positive thinking is always to align with God, to align with divine mind, and to live accordingly. And if we ask for something, you know, we say this or something better, and we work toward that thing. On the other hand, Fred Trump, Donald Trump's father, and he both will do this positive thinking thing, but it's not a positive thinking thing. It's a personal manipulation thing. Refusal to accept the truth. Refusal to accept anything that they don't want to. And this has contagiously spread through the people, through which is called herd mentality. Trump actually used that word one day in error when he was talking about herd immunity. So the point is that it is, thought is contagious. Gossip is contagious. That doesn't make it true. Okay? Sooner or later, the house of cards that he is building, whether now, tomorrow, or in 10 years, is going to fall. But the thing is, how long and how many people are going to be hurt before it falls? As many times as Trump has said that, oh, we're rounding the corner. Yup, we're doing great fighting that COVID. We're rounding the corner. That's BS. I call BS. We're not rounding any corner. More people are dying every day than ever before. This is not truth. We must align with truth. Unfortunately, people really have to be whacked upside the head with that cosmic 2x4 of personal experience. Okay, steering back on the road from my most recent side trip. I'm glad that you like them, Cheryl. I hope everybody's okay with it because I'm trying. Okay, so wishful thinking doesn't make it true. I used to, when I was a teenager, I had the hugest crush on Sal Mineo. He was wonderful and handsome, and unfortunately he met a very poor end. But I had a crush on him, and I would try to telepathize with him, and I would have all this wishful thinking that I would one day get through to Sal Mineo. And that is what wishful thinking is all about. Wishful thinking doesn't make it right. That is magical thinking. Metaphysical thinking holds the thought of that which you desire and allowing this or something better. Bring it to me now, Lord, as you see best. When I look at my life and the things I screwed up so much, most of them were through wishful thinking, not positive thinking. Positive thinking says, I may be single, but I am a beautiful and beloved child of God, mighty to attract my good. I am a radiating center of divine love, and that, my friends, is the truth of my being. Whether I'm by myself or whether I'm with somebody, I am a very happy and content radiating center of divine love. Whew! Okay. Let's get back to wishful thinking. We create a false reality based on personal wants and not a higher desire based on the will of God. This has been the creation of a false reality that half of America, not half, more are light in light than not. And I'm going to tell you something. When the young people of today, I do believe the children are our future. And there are so many enlightened beings. You know, when we were in ministerial school, we talked about we felt that we were like a John the Baptist generation. We were bringing this great new teaching of enlightenment to people, and then those who would be following us would be following with a head start of Christ consciousness. So they're going to take it one step farther. So our generation, well, let's face it, we've all but destroyed the planet over the past 60 years, since the industrial age began, without a consciousness of what was happening in the big picture. Oh, Lord, I don't even think I'm going to get past the first page today. The people who are believing that Donald Trump won the election are living a false reality that is supported by absolutely no valid evidence. And that's the thing. Now, see, you know how we talk about this is higher consciousness, this is enlightenment, and this is lower consciousness, this is our human part. Our goal is to enlighten our lower consciousness and lift ourselves up and create a better world for everyone to live in. This false belief, it's what people want. It's ego. They are being told what they want, but that is all personality generated. It is ignorance generated. It is ignorance generated. They are told stuff and they're swallowing it, not realizing it is poison. It is poison to them, and it is a poison to everyone else. On the other hand, enlightenment means being able to look at and evaluate facts, what's happening, how it works, what the evidence is. This is the difference between enlightenment and going with the flow of herd mentality. And if we add to that cognitive dissonance, which is you hold two opposing ideas, so that is only because they're opposing to you because you don't know the difference, because you're not taking the time and energy to find out what it really is. So what you do, you pick the one you like best. You know, it's like you're married and you love your spouse and they're cheating on you. And there's little signs all around that they're cheating on you. But to choose to overlook that because you choose the false reality that your marriage is fine. Okay? Think on these things. What in life are you wanting with wishful thinking? And the people who think that this is all just happened in the past, in the past 7, 8 years, This has been worked up for a long time as we put the importance of our values and our morals on the back burner. Focusing on what? We have to make a living. We have to make a living. We have to make a living, so we gave our life. Think of that song, Cats in the Cradle. And the father worked so hard that his child grew up without him being there and then became just like him. They missed the point of what was really important. I hope I'm making some sense, because I have spent so much time out in the edges I don't know. I'm just going to keep going. Okay. Okay, this applies to both the individual and collective awareness. So this happens in our lives personally, and it happens in the collective. The people who bought all the stuff that Donald Trump sold, hook, line, and sinker, and told them how wonderful it is, and told him all the good things he did, them all the things he did, and nobody could do it like me. Nobody's ever done it like me. That is the biggest sack of hockey puck I ever heard. Why? Because there is evidence to the contrary. But did you ever notice you get no facts? You get no data when asked what his plan was for moving through the coronavirus, what metrics he would use for opening the country. He said, I've got my metrics. And a reporter said to him, where are they? He said, they're right here. No, you've got absolutely nothing. You need more than that to convince me. Let's pray for the light. Okay. Our human nature may want any number of things. It's in the lower consciousness, but if we break the word down so we know what our true desires are, the word desire means of the Father. It means it is something that is planted in our heart with the intention of expression. And we are all given basic desires. We desire to be loved. We desire to be safe. We desire to be accepted. We desire happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, might I say. And then we may want things. The difference between a want and a desire is desires have a better chance of manifesting because wants change a lot. Desires never do. And the people that we call our enemy, the people on the other side, might we say, those people have the same desires that we do. Safety, family. They just are not aware that it's a bigger picture than self. That's what we're here for, to learn. Okay. Okay, the best part is that God gives us an interest in and an attraction to that which he desires us to be, do, and have. And that's the error of having a job because it makes good money. You want to be in a job where you are doing what you feel you were called here into life to do. For this I was born. Okay? If we want our world to change, we must first change our mind. Wisdom comes through experience. This is how consciousness or an idea progresses through consciousness from theory. So we hear theory and or knowledge, we learn something, we hear about something, we explore it to see what is this all about? What are the facts behind this? Does this work? And when we get to working it, we get to absolute knowing. I absolutely know we are all one. We are interdependent. And the division that is in our country now is killing it. But it doesn't need to be a fatal disease if we refuse to participate in a war of hate and choose instead to stand strong in faith and love. We want to keep an open mind. Without an open mind, we can't learn. We want to listen to people, but listen for what they're really saying, not for whatever they're spouting off, and see if we can get to the truth of it through love, not through fight. Both our hearts and minds must be open to receive a new paradigm. The paradigm going from you or me to we, because we are all one. Like it or not, we're not going to all have happiness until we all have happiness. The starting place is asking ourselves a difficult question. What do we know without a doubt? I got to look. I'm overtime already. I don't want to do that, because if I do that, then I'm going to run through it so fast you're not going to be able to digest it. So think about this, about what do you know without a doubt to be true. And we will get back to that tomorrow night. I really thought it was going to be so easy, because it was like 2 pages and this much, and I said, oh, I can knock that out tonight. Unfortunately, I had just listened to the news, so excuse me, I was influenced by the lower consciousness of the news, and now I have to go through my processes and my prayer process to lift myself out of that error. The good part of that is that I got wound up enough that hopefully I provided for you a hefty portion of food for thought, okay? Think on these things. Think about not being afraid of the shadow, staying in the light, and being the light. Oh, yes, and Cheryl said, stay warm in the storm. We do not know what we're going to get walloped with tomorrow. We don't know if it's going to be, a little feather or a 2x4. But, so please, let's all hold prayer that we will be safe, that we will be warm, that all people will be warm, and that will not be hungry, okay? We can make a difference when we do it together. Have a great night. Bye-bye.